It doesn't happen with a shout. It doesn't happen with a strike, or a protest, or a factory closing down with padlocks on the gates. In 2026, the end of your financial life happens in silence. It happens on a Tuesday morning, in a scheduled Zoom call that appeared on your calendar only 15 minutes ago. The title of the meeting is ambiguous: Update, or Team Touchpoint, or simply Discussion. You log in. You are sitting in your home office in the $2 million house in Oakville or North Vancouver that you fought so hard to buy. You are wearing a dress shirt, but maybe you are still in sweatpants below the desk. You take a sip of coffee. The screen flickers to life, but it's not your boss. It's someone from HR whom you have never met, and their camera is off. Due to a strategic restructuring, the voice says, your role has been eliminated effective immediately. The call lasts 4 minutes. Your access to the company email is cut before the call even ends. Your laptop locks itself remotely. And just like that, the 6-figure income, the bonuses, the stock options, the identity, it is all gone. You are sitting in a silent house surrounded by luxury furniture bought on credit, with a mortgage payment of $9,000 due in 12 days, and for the first time in your life, you have no way to pay it. Welcome back to Canada Property Watch. For months, we have been warning you about the blue-collar recession, the construction workers and service staff losing their jobs as the economy slows. But today, we are documenting a far more dangerous phenomenon. We are documenting the white-collar purge. We are witnessing the systematic dismantling of the Canadian upper middle class. The bankers, the tech workers, the consultants, the real estate agents, the very people who drove the housing bubble to its insane heights, are now being discarded by the system they served. And when a banker loses their home, they don't just lose a roof over their head. They crash the entire market. Today, we are going to look inside the glass towers of Bay Street and the tech hubs of Waterloo. We are going to expose why the major banks are quietly firing thousands of staff while reporting record profits. We are going to explain the golden handcuffs trap that makes high-income earners the most vulnerable people in the economy. And we are going to tell you why the power of sale signs popping up in Canada's wealthiest neighborhoods are the canary in the coal mine for a total economic collapse. To understand the scale of this purge, you have to look at the numbers the government is trying to hide. The headline unemployment rate is rising, yes, but if you dig into the sector-specific data, it is a bloodbath in the professional, scientific, and technical services category. This is the engine room of the white-collar economy. Why is this happening? It is the convergence of 3 brutal forces: artificial intelligence, insolvency, and interest rates. First, let's talk about the banks themselves. As we discussed in our technically insolvent investigation, Canadian banks are sitting on massive loan losses. They are terrified. They need to cut costs to preserve capital. And what is their biggest cost? It's not electricity, it's not rent, it's people. It's the vice president earning $200,000 to manage a department that AI can now run for $50 a month. We are seeing a silent wave of layoffs at RBC, TD, Scotiabank, BMO, and CIBC. They aren't announcing mass layoffs in press releases because that would panic the stock market. Instead, they are doing stealth layoffs. They fire 10 people here, 20 people there. They mandate return-to-office policies designed to make people quit. They are shedding weight to survive the winter. Second, the tech sector, which fueled the condo boom in Toronto and Vancouver, is imploding. The cheap money era is over. Venture capital has dried up. Startups that were hiring aggressively in 2022 are now bankrupt. The big tech giants are cutting middle management layers to boost efficiency. Third, the housing industry itself. Real estate agents, mortgage brokers, appraisers, real estate lawyers, an entire ecosystem existed to service the transaction volume of the housing bubble. Now that sales have collapsed to 20-year lows, that ecosystem is starving. There are 70,000 real estate agents in Toronto. Maybe 5,000 of them are making a living right now. The rest are structurally unemployed. This brings us to the rich and broke phenomenon. We tend to have zero sympathy for bankers losing their jobs. We think, oh, they made huge money, they should have savings. But that assumes financial literacy, and ironically, our many finance professionals have the worst personal balance sheets in the country. Consider the lifestyle of the average director or VP at a Canadian bank. They earn perhaps $250,000 a year. On paper, they are the 1%. But let's look at their outflows. They bought the house at the peak in 2022 for $2 million. They put 20% down, often gifted by parents or borrowed from equity in a previous property. They have a mortgage of $1.6 million. At today's variable rates, that mortgage costs them roughly $10,000 a month. That is $120,000 a year, after tax. That is half their take-home pay gone just to pay the interest. Then add the two leased luxury SUVs, the Audi and the Range Rover, because they need to project success. So add the private school tuition for 2 kids because the public schools are crumbling. Add the cottage maintenance, add the vacations they put on credit cards. They are running a household with a burn rate of $20,000 a month. They live paycheck to paycheck, just at a higher altitude than the rest of us. They have no liquidity. Their wealth is entirely trapped in the equity of their home, equity that has evaporated over the last 18 months. When the layoff comes, the math breaks instantly. Severance packages are the next lie we need to dismantle. In the past, a banker might expect a golden parachute, a year's salary to walk away quietly. Not anymore. Companies are fighting every dime. They are offering the statutory minimums. They are alleging just cause for minor infractions to avoid paying anything. They are weaponizing the legal system because they know you can't afford a lawyer to fight them. Let's say you get lucky. Let's say you get a 3-month severance package. In the rich and broke household, 3 months of severance pays for 3 months of the mortgage. That's it. It doesn't buy you time to find a new career. It buys you 90 days of delay before the foreclosure letter arrives. And here's the terrifying part. There are no jobs to go to. If you are a 45-year-old compliance officer, or a middle manager, or a strategic consultant, where do you go in 2026? The other banks aren't hiring. They are firing. The tech companies aren't hiring. The government is freezing hiring to manage the deficit. You are structurally unemployed. Your skill set, which was attending meetings, managing spreadsheets, and navigating corporate politics, is worthless in a recession economy that demands hard skills and efficiency. We are seeing executives taking jobs as Uber drivers. We are seeing former VPs stacking shelves at Costco, trying to hide their faces so their neighbors don't recognize them. The shame is palpable. This is the silent depression. In the 1930s, the poverty was visible in the breadlines. In 2026, the poverty is hidden behind the oak doors of suburban mansions, where families are eating pasta and turning down the heat to save money while pretending everything is fine. But they can't hide the for sale sign. This is where the white-collar purge becomes a housing market crash. When a blue-collar worker loses their job, they might default on a $400,000 condo in the suburbs or stop paying rent. It hurts the market, but it doesn't shatter it. When a white-collar worker loses their job, they default on a $2.5 million detached home in a prime neighborhood. These are the comparable sales that appraisers use to value everyone else's homes. Imagine a street in Leaside or Oakville. It's prestigious. Houses sell for $2.5 million. Suddenly, the banker at number 42 loses his job. He burns through his severance. He tries to sell, but nobody is buying because interest rates are still too high. He gets desperate. He lists at $2.2 million. No offers. He drops to $1.9 million. Still no offers. Eventually, the bank steps in. They initiate a power of sale. The bank doesn't care about the neighborhood values. They just want their capital back. They dump the house on the market for $1.5 million to clear the debt. Boom. The comparable value for the entire street just dropped by $1 million overnight. Every other neighbor on that street who thought they had $1 million in equity is now underwater. Their HELOCs get frozen, as we discussed in the last video. Their net worth vanishes. This is the wealth effect working in reverse. When people feel rich, they spend. When they see their neighbor's house sell for a massive loss, they stop spending immediately. They cancel the renovation. They cancel the vacation. They stop eating out. The local economy freezes. We are already seeing this inventory pile up. Look at the listings in the $2 million million to $4 million range in the GTA and GVA. They are sitting for 60, 90, 120 days. They are terminated and relisted at lower prices. The sellers are desperate. They are bleeding cash. They are the victims of the purge. There is a psychological element here that makes this crash particularly dangerous. Denial. The white-collar worker has spent their entire life believing they are essential. They went to the right university. They have the MBA. They followed the rules. They cannot process the fact that the system has turned on them. They spend the first 6 months of unemployment in denial. They don't cut their spending fast enough. They don't put the house on the market early enough. They burn through their RRSPs, retirement savings, trying to maintain the illusion. By the time they accept reality, it is too late. The bank has already moved in. And let's talk about the ultimate betrayal. Who is foreclosing on these bankers? Their own employers. The same bank that gave them the pink slip on Tuesday is the same bank sending the foreclosure notice on Friday. You are not a partner or a valued team member. You are a line item on a spreadsheet. You are collateral. The impact on the rental market is also chaotic. Many of these white-collar workers were also amateur landlords. They use their high incomes to qualify for mortgages on investment condos. They are the ones holding the negative cash flow units we talk about. When the job loss hits, the investment property is the first thing to go. But because the condo market is already flooded, they can't sell. So they get desperate. They try to evict tenants to sell the unit vacant. They cut back on maintenance. They stop paying condo fees. We are seeing condo corporations facing insolvency because so many units are in arrears. It is a contagion that spreads from the job market to the housing market to the legal system. The white-collar purge also exposes the lie of the labor shortage. For years, the government told us we needed millions of immigrants because of a labor shortage. But look at who is unemployed now. We have highly educated, experienced professionals sitting at home. We don't have a shortage of workers. We have a shortage of an economy that can support high wages. We are importing millions of people to work at Tim Hortons while firing the people who design the buildings and manage the capital. It is a low-wage equilibrium. The goal is to drive down wages across the board. If a senior banker can be replaced by an AI and a junior analyst earning $60,000, the bank will do it. This brings us to the AI factor. We cannot ignore it. Many of the jobs being lost right now are never coming back. This is not a cyclical recession where you get hired back when things improve. This is a structural shift. Banks are using AI to analyze credit risk, to write reports, to detect fraud, to manage portfolios. The middlemen of the information economy are obsolete. If your job involved taking information from one spreadsheet and moving it to another spreadsheet, you are done. You train the algorithm that replaced you. So, what does the future look like for the Canadian middle class? It looks like a K-shaped disintegration. At the top, the ultra-wealthy, who own the capital and the AI, get richer. At the bottom, the service class survives because A, I can't fix a toilet or pave a road yet. But the middle, the bloated, debt-fueled, white-collar middle, is being hollowed out. The Canadian dream of the last 20 years was simple. Get a degree, get a corporate job, buy a house, retire. That path has been dynamited. The degree is devalued. The job is temporary. The house is a liability. The retirement is a myth. If you are watching this and you still have your job, do not get comfortable. Do not think, oh, this is happening to other people. It is closing in on you. The circle is shrinking. You need to audit your own career risk immediately. Are you a revenue generator? Do you bring cash into the business? Or are you a cost center? Are you overhead? In a purge, overhead gets cut first. You need to look at your burn rate. If you lost your job tomorrow, how long could you survive without selling your house? If the answer is 3 months, you are in the danger zone. You need to cut expenses now, hence while you still have the income. Get liquid. Build the war chest we talk about, and stop relying on the T4 slip as your only measure of security. The era of the job for life is dead. The era of the gig economy has moved up the food chain. Even executives are now effectively gig workers, hired for a project and fired when the stock price needs a bump. The power of sale signs in Oakville are not just real estate listings. They are monuments to a failed economic model. They are the debris of a burst bubble. As we move deeper into 2026, we will see more for lease signs on office towers and more for sale signs on mansions. The media will try to spin it. They will call it a transition. They will call it right sizing. But we know what it really is. It is a purge. It is a transfer of assets from the indebted middle class to the cash-rich elite. The bankers are losing their homes so that the hedge funds can buy them for pennies on the dollar. The glass tower is emptying out. The lights are being turned off floor by floor. And if you are still sitting at your desk, waiting for the email, waiting for the Zoom call, it's time to wake up. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. It extracted your labor during the boom, and now it is extracting your assets during the bust. Don't let them take everything. Subscribe to Canada Property Watch. We will continue to track the layoffs, the insolvency data, and the real estate crash that the mainstream media is afraid to touch. We are the voice of the reality you see with your own eyes. Stay vigilant, stay solvent, and protect your home from the purge.